All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Nice to have you all here. I hope you can see my screen and hear me okay. You can give me a thumbs up so I know you can. Oh, oh. My name is Suji Maniam. I'm a developer advocate with Nebius. And today I'm going to talk about how to use open source models with Nebius. And I'm a little bit about me. I'm in Bay Area and San Jose to be exact. And here are my contacts. You can contact me here if you have any questions, comments, or if you're local, you want to meet up for pickleball. So, any of those words. All right. I'll leave this for one more second if you want to take a quick picture of this, so you can contact me later. All right, so let's dive right in. And I figured I'll start a little presentation for an AI hackathon with an icebreaker, some jokes created by LLMs. So I asked my LLMs, tell me a joke about agents. And so I asked two LLMs, and I'll put both of them up, and you can see which one's funnier, or maybe they are equally bad. So I thought that was funny. Just the promotion one I thought pretty good. Anyhow, just a little icebreaker. Hope you all get a little fun out of that. And so let's talk about a little bit about the open source models. If you look at this chart right here, look at the timeline. This is going from 2022 to 24, which is last year. And this kind of shows the closed source and open source models side by side. And you can see at the start, the closed source models are pretty, all right, the gap is pretty big. And as time goes on, they're both improving, you can see, but the open source models are catching up pretty rapidly. And towards the end of like 2024, like about a year ago, you can see they are very close to each other. But remember, this is only going to 2024, right? Last year. And a year in AI is like an eternity. So this year, we have seen some pretty amazing models come up. And I just sort of like this one, so I just put this up here. Mhm. There we go. Yeah. So we have seen some pretty amazing models came up this year, especially this summer. And you can see some of these. And you can also see these are pretty nice and pretty big models. And you can see there, 1 second, my cursor is kind of tight on. Let's see, there you go. Yeah. And you can see these are, if you look at the model parameter sizes, these are like hundreds of billions, right? 200, 400. Kimi is like 1 trillion. So just crazy big models. And also they have pretty good context window. So especially for agentic workloads, that is important. Yeah. And if you're wondering how they do, how well they perform compared to closed source models, you can see, right? And here's a benchmark from artificial analysis. The top models are proprietary. You can see GPT-5, Gemini, right? But the closed source model, open source models are very, very close behind. And if you look at the scores, they are very, very close. So I always say, right? So maybe the still the art maybe still proprietary models, but the open source models are very, very close behind. So what that means for us builders and developers is you can actually build applications, really sophisticated applications using open source models, and that gives you a lot of freedom and flexibility and choice, right? And this kind of brings me, I want to talk about Nebius very quickly. So you may have heard about Nebius. We've been pretty busy lately. We are a AI cloud. We are designed specifically for AI workloads. What that means is, and by the way, here are our data centers in US and Europe. So you can actually host and choose and host the data, choose a data center that's geolocated and also for your data privacy as well. And one thing that stands out for us is we actually control everything from the lowest level, from the hardware, all the way to the software and orchestration layer. What that allows us, it gives us pretty good control over over the entire stack, and it gives us an advantage of price versus performance. So just to give you a quick sense, So this is a quick look at the platform. You can see sort of, we build on GPUs, and then we actually build out our own servers and own data centers, and we implement our own software all the way to the cloud layer. And the token factory, which I'm going to talk about in a second, is actually built on top of this. What that means is it actually benefits from this AI cloud that is designed from the ground up for AI workloads. So a token factory is basically what we like to call enterprise-grade inference using open source models. So because we just saw how great open source models are, right? And they are all state of the art. But how do you run them without having to worry about infrastructure? That's where we come in, Nebius Token Factory. And I'll show you a quick demo on this one, but I'll run through a quick slides. If you look at the Token Factory, basically we are a full stack. So we have all the latest open source models that we have seen, like Kimi, Llama, Guen, DeepSeek, right? We have all those hosted. You can also fine tune the models, right? You can use the ones we have, or you can adapt the more open source models to your workloads. So we provide full fine tuning capabilities. And also, we have, things like tool calling, MCP, and also security compliance, right? These are all the things enterprises look for when they're choosing an inference platform. And yeah, what we call OpenAI compatible. So if you look at our API code, we use OpenAI APIs, and you can see here I'm, changing just literally 2 lines of code to point to Nebius endpoint. So you can see like Nebius endpoints, and then we're specifying the API key, and that's it, right? You can start with just changing 2 lines of code, and then we handle all the scales behind the scene. And you can see we have pretty high rate limits. What we say is we have dynamic rate limits. We'll scale with the application. And if you need even more capacity, we have what we call dedicated endpoints that give you guaranteed capacity. Price performance, you can see, again, this is I took this from artificial analysis. So the green quadrant is where you want to be and give you good performance and good price. And you can see, if you look at these benchmarks, you would see Nebius on the top tier. So what that means is, like, remember, our cloud is built specifically for AI workloads. So we give you pretty good price performance ratio as well. So building agents with the open source model. So now you're seeing open models. I gave you a little bit about Nebius and Token Factory. So how do you build agents? And since most of you know agents, in this hackathon, I'll kind of zip through this pretty quick. Agents are basically what we call autonomous, meaning they can operate without human intervention for the most part. And they make smart decisions, they adjust, they tweak, right? They can adapt dynamically. So for us, if you want to build agents, again, I was going to quickly run through this real quick. So they can actually learn from an environment, right? Think for themselves and adapt their workflow. So this is different from like a regular workflow. Like, for example, if you had a regular workflow defined, that is pretty static, right? I mean, you may have seen regular workflows designed by people. You'll say, okay, if this, do this, if not, do this. Those are already predetermined. But an agent, on the other hand, can adjust the workflow dynamically. And that's what makes them special. Yeah. And again, all the use cases, customer service, healthcare, finance, right? We starting to see more and more agents deployed in the real world. And we're also looking forward to see what you're going to build in this hackathon as well. Another thing I like to talk about is which models would you choose for agents? And again, there's not like a one model that works for everybody, but there are a few things I would recommend you guys look for. One is, from agents are all about tool calling. So how's your model with tool calling capability? Does it do well, right? And we usually probably want a large context window, for example, especially like coding agents, right, or analyzing large document bases. You want to have good context window, right? That's important. And also, usually the reasoning models tend to give you reasoning for the agents, because remember, agents can't think for themselves. So you want a good reasoning model to facilitate that. Again, you can look at the Berkeley function calling benchmark. They update the benchmark pretty regularly. You can sort of see what are the top models and see, and then start with those. And here's like a few, right? I picked out from the benchmark. You can start with these. And remember, we have all these open source models hosted, so you can switch around, try different models, and then see which one gives you good performance, right? So you're not locked into anything. Yep. And that's the beauty of open source. because you do have a lot of choices. And when you're building an agent, you would probably end up using an agent framework. And we have you covered there. We have integrations with all the popular agent frameworks. You can see Agno, CrewAI, you will probably recognize these names. You're probably already using a few of these, right? And so Token Factory actually integrates with all of these. And I will show you some examples on this one in a second. Okay. So here's a page you should probably take a picture or a screenshot of. This has all the information you need to get started. By the way, if you're part of the hackathon, we actually sent you a Nebius credit code that you can use. I'll show you how to use it in a second. These are the URLs, right? So you want to go to tokenfactory.nebius.com, right? And then we have a lot of sample code for you in our cookbook. And if you ever need support, you can come to our Discord server and ask questions. Yeah. So hopefully everyone had a chance to take a picture or a screenshot of the screen. All right. So let me show you some code to get you guys started. First up is how do you apply the promo code? By the way, the promo code is actually sent out by email. So check your email, maybe check your spam folder. You should see the promo code from the hackathon organizers. I'm going to show you how to apply the promo code real quick. Let me see if I can still, let me know if you can still see my screen. Yep. Okay, cool. So once you log into Nebius Token Factory, let me make this a little larger. All right. Just log in. It's very easy to log in using Google or GitHub, right? And then once you log in, you will see a top up button right here where I'm pointing. And if you have the code with you, you can do this right now. Just click on the top up button and then click with the promo code. And then enter the promo code. That's it. Yeah. And then as soon as it activates, you will see it here. The promo codes given to you guys only have one activation, so please don't share them, right? So the code you have is unique. You can see it's a unique code. It has one activation. So we email the code one per person. So be careful sharing sharing this because only a one. So as soon as one person activates, that's it. The code is used. All right. So I want to make sure is everybody able to activate. So any questions, comments? Let me look at the Zoom real quick. Okay, good. So let me show you a few things for you to get started with the Token Factory. Right, so here are the models, right? So let's start with the models here. You can look for models like text-to-text model. This is the model most of us end up using. You can filter those, and you can see, right? You have GPT-OSS, Kimis, GUEN, right? All these state-of-the-art open source models are here. We also have embedding models if you want text to image. Text to image meaning like you specify a text and it'll create an image for you, right? So all that. And also you can quickly filter the models. For example, let's say you are looking for GUEN, right? You will see, right? Just to type here, and then we will filter this for you. Yeah. And for each model, you will see what we call like a model card. You see what the model, how much it costs. So hopefully you don't have to worry about this because at this point you should have credit activated, right? So, and also you can see, where it's hosted and also what are the capabilities, right? It's good for code, math, and can do JSON, right? Things like that. Very cool, right? So very easy to navigate. And one thing one way you can try these models is, we have this playground. It's very easy. Like, for example, let me look at GPT-OSS, right? Let me go to the playground, click on playground here. And then just very simple, just, punch in your prompt. So let me actually copy paste this here. I'll just say, write a Python code to convert from CSV to JSON. Fine, right? And that's it. That's my prompt. And you can see how fast it is, right? So that's my Python code right here, and it's done. So yeah, so you can play around. You can play around with any other models, experiment. You could even test function calls, like for example, if you're trying to do tool calling and if you have custom functions you want to experiment, right? You can click on the functions and click on add function and follow the prompt and add functions and test to see if your model can access the function. Super easy, right? So let me pause here for a second. Any questions or comments? So all the models, you can go to the playground. Oh, by the way, so that's a playground. If you want to know the code, you can simply say view code, right? And there we go. Just copy paste, and you can use Python, JavaScript, and then you can be up and running. So super easy to use. And again, like I mentioned, there's only two settings we had to change. From an OpenAI client, we point to our base URL to token factory and also API key. And how do you get API key is very simple, right? Right here, you could click on get API key, and then you can give it a name. And just like other API keys, you give it a name. I recommend giving it a descriptive name. So for example, you want one for hackathon, so create like agents hackathon, right? And then just say create, and then you want to copy that. By the way, you should copy the key and save it, because remember, once you close the dialog window, you cannot get back to the key. And this is a security precaution. Pretty much all of the vendors do. So once you create a key, just make sure that you copy it to your machine. That's it, and that's your API key. So if you look at the API key, that's what we're talking about. All right. And also, once you're done with this, right, again, so let me actually put this one code. When you run the prompt, sorry, that's a system prompt, and I want to modify that. Right, so, and then after it's done, you can see the token speed, how much time it took, the whole thing. Yep. So at the end, you'll see, there we go, right? How much time it took, what's the token speed. So this is pretty good, actually, right? And all that. All right, so that's how we use a model from in the console, and also using the API. Again, just click view code, and that's it. Okay. And then we have plenty of examples in the cookbook. So again, the URL here, right? You guys saw the URL here. So it's called Token Factory Cookbook. If you go here, and you will see we have lots of sample code here for you. And whether you want to use models, APIs, want to use RAG, probably agents are probably of interest. So you can click on the agents here, and you can see we have plenty of agent examples. Yeah. And another thing, and then it's easy to navigate here. So you can start with like a simple agents. Also, you can start by framework. So for example, let's say you're using Agno or Crew AI, and you're like, hey, show me a sample code for Crew AI. And you can just navigate very easily. Right? So the research, let me say the research agent is what you want. Click on this, right? You can just run this. Actually, let me show you real quick. Right. So, quick check. Can you see my screen okay? I'm in the terminal. Let me make sure. Yeah. All right, thank you. So here's my Crew AI research agent. So it's going to just do like a very basic research. Let me show you the code. Right, agent. So this is my Crew AI research agent, and you can look at the code here. All right. So you can see I'm importing from Crew AI. And again, right, so I'm using this model, QN30B, and you can see, I'm punching in the API key here. Yeah. And basically, it's a very simple research. So I'm saying, you're a researcher, you're going to do some, research about groundbreaking technology in AI. All right, so no big deal. So, and then how you run this, very simple, right? So in all our code, we actually use UV for our example. So all you have to do is just go to the directory and do UV sync, to basically install the dependency. Oh, sorry, I am on a different my pad. So right here. All right. So all you have to do is like, so I'm the right agent, just make sure. Yep. And UV sync, done. And then all you have to do is like just do like a UV and pick up instructions here. Right. This is UV run. Yeah. Python.agent. That's it. Yeah. So let's run this real quick. And hopefully you should actually do some research about our AI trends and come back with an answer. Let's see. And we are using the Crew AI agent library. There you go, up and running. And also, if you have any questions, please put, go ahead and type in your questions, and we will go through them towards the end. Yeah. And while it's doing this, let me show you a couple of other things. There you go. It's done. Okay, so what did it come back with? So next big step is embodied AI system, right, with continuous lifelong learning, right? So yeah, it came up with did some research and came up with some topics, right? And also you can see the usage, like how much it used up, right? How many tokens it used and all that. Anyway, so you see how easy it is. And our examples are super easy to use and run. So what you can do is you can just clone the repo or fork on your own, and then just start writing some code. Yeah, start adapting our code for your needs. Go. Let's see. Also, agent demo, query research. Yeah. Another thing you might be interested is I use open source models as part of my development also, not just using it as agents or LLMs. I actually use them quite a bit for writing code. So if you can see my VS Code, you can see I actually have Klein installed. So Klein is an open source coding agent, and they actually support Nebius models. So you can see here, right? So I installed Klein again. You can find them here in the marketplace, CLINE, Line, right? And then if you look at here, see how I have Nebius model set up. So I choose the provider as Nebius Studio, punch in my API key, and I've chosen Go Encoder as my model, right? And this is a pretty capable model for especially for coding tasks. And you can see, right, it's called Coder. So it's specifically designed for coding tasks. And let's kind of give it a try. So I'm actually in this, I have this project open, AI Studio project open. So I'm going to go and say, on a very simple term, I'm going to say, summarize this project for me. Oh, I know. So what you do is like you should basically actually go to my, go to Nebius, right? You can sort of see the progress here, right? It's kind of reading some files, trying to figure out what this project is all about. Yeah. And they do like a very nice job on the top. You can see like the API calls and how much tokens you are using. And this model, you can see, right, it has a pretty large token window, 260K token window. And then, so you can accommodate large files. Anyway, so I think here's a summary. There you go. You can see project overview. There's a Nebius token factory. It's a collection of guides and examples, yada, 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 right? And then it gives me the breakdown of how the codes are organized, agents, right? You can see all the examples, RAG, and all that. So pretty cool. So you can see I'm using the open source model hosted on Token Factory with client running VS Code. And you can see the, right, how much progress it made. We don't even crack, just, only 10%. So, and you can imagine, so, you can actually use this with large code bases. Should be. So yeah, so I love to see what you guys, how you guys end up using these models in your day-to-day workflow. let's see, what else I want to show. Oh yeah, and another thing we actually do is we actually host, sponsor and host hackathons. And as part of the our community effort, you can look at our community page. You can see contributions people are making, right? So these are contributions people are making, apps and tutorials people are building. So if you have some cool app that you want us to feature here, please reach out to me. And you can see, right, so there are some cool stuff here, help desks, and also we actually have events. And these are some of the events we hosted. So we actually host hackathons. And when we sponsor hackathons, we also list the Nebius prize winners and also other noteworthy projects. So hopefully, I'm hoping I love to see some pretty cool projects out of this hackathon. And we will list them here and give you good exposure. Yeah? So check it out. So let's see how we're doing on time. All right, very good. Oh yeah. So one more thing I want to mention, so when you sign up, you will get I think when you sign up, you get like $1, I think, right? But for agentic workloads, definitely activate using the code we have given you, because that'll give you millions of tokens, right? Trust me, more than plenty for you guys to do your work. So, and also we are on Discord. Let me put the slide up. We are on Discord here. I'm on the hackathon Discord, and also we have on Discord. If you have any questions, you can post either one. You can tag me so I get notified, and happy to help you guys out. All right. So let's see. Oh yeah. So let's end with the one fun demo. And what I've done is, so you guys have seen, I can actually use the console. So let me actually use GPT OSS and say go to playground. And I'm going to ask it to say, so this is something I just do, just a little fun demo. I'm going to say, implement a snake game that's playable in a browser in a single HTML file. Why not? And another cool thing you can do, right? So here, I'm using GPT OSS. I'm just going to compare with another model. So you just saw what I did, right? You can just click on the, right, go to models, right? Go to playground and click on the compare button right here. And you can compare two models side by side. And let's say let me say I select coder, I go and 3 coder. And I'm going to give them the exact same task. I'm going to say, write me a single HTML file game of the game Snake. Very simple game, right? They should be able to do it. And here is a prompt. So let me see side by side what happens. And you can see they start writing the code, right? So anyway, so this way I can kind of see them side by side how they do. I'll let them run. I actually did this earlier and then save the output. So you can let me do a quick demo here. And this is GPT OSS. You can see from my screen name, right? And this is the game right here. So, it's not too bad. So I can start playing, right? You can sort of see here. It's a snake game, right? So so as you eat the red, whatever red blob, you tend to grow. Anyway, you get the idea, right? So this is GPT OSS, not bad. Single HTML file, you can see, right? Single HTML file right here. So how did Gwen 3 Coder do? So let me bring it up, refresh this. So this looks a little bit more substantial, right? And I just put the headings on my own. I just did the heading just so I know which one's which. And you can see here, okay, let's start playing. Let me see here, right? Anyway, so obviously, I'm not very good at this, you can see, but but it's just a game, right? But it's pretty amazing, right? Just with a single prompt, you can see, right? They can create these games in like a single prompt. How awesome is that? Anyway, so hope you enjoyed the demo. It's like a little fun demo I use like when you're trying a new model, kind of say, okay, now, can you create like a snake game with like one prompt? There you go. To summarize, we actually, let me put this up one more time. So there's a slide, take a picture, take a screenshot. Everything you guys need to get started is here, tokenfactory.nebius.com, and we have plenty of examples to get you started, and also you have the code to get going. Yeah? And if you run into any issues, any feedback, any suggestions, you can find us on Discord. We love to support you. And also remember, like I said, hopefully I'll love to have you list your projects in our community page. I'm really excited to see what you're going to be building. Right, that's it from me. Thank you so much. I'll kind of take a break to see if there are any questions, any comments. Go ahead, please.
Thank you so much, Suji. I think we do have a few questions.
Yes, let's go ahead, please. Yeah.
Yeah, so one of them is more of a logistical question. The question is, when I go to top up, it asks for a country and account details. My country isn't included. Is it okay if I choose another? The country is Colombia.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, good question. Let me, well, because since I had my accounts already set up, so you didn't see me. Yeah. So the very first time you click top up, we have some basic details, right? Because now our billing is involved. So yeah, just say, yeah, fill it out the best you can. You don't just to make sure you don't need to enter a card, right? You just want to select the promo code and then punch in the promo code, because sometimes people see the card and they're like, oh no, I don't want to enter my credit card. No, we don't need the credit card, not just yet. So you can use the promo code and then do it. But yeah, we do need some basic details from you, like the country and right, things like this. Yeah, do the best you can. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. And the next question is, let's see. Can you connect external knowledge sources into the playground?
Ooh, interesting. So, okay, answer is yes and no. So in the function call, right, remember you can have a function defined, right? And this function can be a custom function. You can pretty much, invoke any other function. Give it a try and let us know. Typically, the way I have done this is by exposing a tool. Like for example, if you have a tool, just export it as an MCP, and then your model can connect to it, right? That's probably the easiest way you would want to do. But this function call can give you some basic functionality, try it out and test your basic functionality. So yeah, so give it a try, please, and let us know, right? Because we do want to, hear your feedback. But eventually, you actually want to migrate the code, and once you have code, then it's pretty easy, right? Your code, you can export using MCP or whatever, and then you can hook into any MCP call with right. That's probably the path you will end up choosing. But do let me know. Yeah, I love to know how you are planning on building this. Yeah, so.
All right, perfect. And I think we just have one more question right now. If I'm trying to minimize costs during development testing, how do you recommend designing a small enough test while trying to implement the benchmarks? Some of these benchmarks use a lot of tokens per eval.
Right, great question, actually. So here's the thing, right? And I'll show you the most obvious one. If you go to our model page, you see the model card, right? In the card, we are pretty upfront about pricing. And so again, look at the GPD OSS pricing, like input and output token, like right here, right? It's like 15 cents per million, 60 cents per million output tokens. But remember, typically the output tokens end up costing you more. Why? Because the model has to work, think, right, and produce a token. So tokens tend to be more expensive. Output tokens tend to be more expensive. You look at the Kimi K2, right? You can do the comparison. You can see it's almost 4 times more expensive. Yeah. So what I would recommend is you don't need to go to the top of the line model when you're kind of experimenting, right? Or you're just running like a bunch of tests. You can choose maybe like a lighter model, a cheaper model. Go with that. Right? Kind of build out your harness, build out your tests. Right? Do a few test runs to make sure it's good. And then and you can see the pricing, right? Like a lot of the models here, right? They don't, like, some of them are expensive, some of them are not so. So choose one that's reasonable, gives you reasonable performance. And then once you're like doing the final testing at the final stages, then you can switch to like a really high-end model that'll cost you more. But yeah, right. But the credit we are giving you, remember, I think it's like $50, right? And that should give you pretty good amount of tokens for you to work with. Because remember, this is the price per million tokens, right? So $50 give you 50 million tokens. That's pretty good. But yeah, so do let us know what your experience is like. This is one option. And also another thing, if you're using like coding agents, another thing you can do is like most of them will have this plan versus act mode, right? So plan mode is just kind of information gathering. So that'll probably end up using a little less token space. So you can kind of switch between, these two, and then see, right? Play around a little bit there too. Yeah. So there are some pointers. But yeah, also post on Discord if you have any questions. We'll give you some suggestions. Good question. Yeah.
Okay, and I think one more question is, can I import my own data set to fine tune a model?
Very good. Yes, I am glad you asked me this question. Let me actually show you. Can you still see my screen? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. Yeah, perfect. So you want to go to fine tuning, right? And then fine tuning is super easy on the platform. So again, fine tuning. So let me just walk you through the real quickly. So you're going to, and here's how you upload your data, right? Simply drag and drop. You can, up to 5 gig. I support it. I just upload your data set. That's step one. Step two, you choose the model that you want to fine tune. You can sort of pick the models here, right? We support, right? Some of the models, like you can do like one-click deployment. So, right, you can start with that. But you can see there are a lot of models supported here. Just choose a model you want to go with, right? And then you can tweak fine-tuning parameters. You can choose LoRa or full fine-tuning, right? And then also you see the pricing. It's kind of say, hey, if you're going to fine-tune tuning your 26 million token, this is what you're paying. Yeah. And then next. And then basically, just honestly, just simply say create job, and that's it. So the fine-tuning job will be created in the background. It'll run, a few minutes or in a couple of hours, and then at the end you will be notified, and you have a new model, and your models will actually show up under private models, right? So and then you can just deploy. Yeah. So yeah, do give it a try, and if you run into any issues, let me know. We'll help you along. Oh, very good. Any other questions?
I think we're winding down on questions.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I will put this one up one more time. just so, if you missed it, right? I want to make sure everybody has this. But remember, we are on Discord. If you have any question, you can tag me on the Discord channel and happy to help you. And also, let me put up my contact real quick. So yeah, so you can connect with me here, email, Twitter, whatever, right? So if you need to connect with me or send me a message, happy to connect with you. And then, yeah, I'm very excited to see what you're building, and good luck to all of us. Thank you, guys.